So, what are we doing today? We are going to go over what in the world the Vanguard is, aka Strikes. So, when you go to the Vanguard, there is the daily heroic story mission, which I guess is just a heroic story mission, and Nightfall Strike, random Nightfall Strike, and this is apparently a beta game of Nightfall. Recommended power level 820. This one's 750, and this is Vanguard Strike. Now, this one is um, usually a playlist. Vanguard, yeah, strikes. So, like this one right here would do like a playlist of strikes. And when I say a playlist, I mean like when you go into the strike, you will literally sit there and go through one strike, and then as soon as you're done with that one, if you stay in without choosing to return to orbit, you'll go to the next strike and the next strike until you're done. It's a great way of getting loot really really fast. Then there is Nightfall. But before I hit Nightfall, this is the playlist of them. But you can actually go to specific ones. And how you do that is you go to destinations and you can go to Earth and you can look for these. It's a strike, the arms dealer. And I think there's one down here. And another one, Lake of Shadows. And I think that's all of them on this one. So you can actually choose a specific strike. Sometimes quests or bounties will specifically ask for a strike that you want a specific strike. Not all planets have them, but most do. So you got like this one and this one. Garden World Tree. This one's on Mercury. Maybe all planets do. I'm about to find out. The pyramid. That one, I don't know how many times I come up with a strike that, or a bounty or a quest that says something about doing that strike in specific. So that one's a really popular one right now. And then the Festering Core, and then Mars, I believe has one. Yep, Will of the Thousands, and Strange Terrain. And then Titan has Savathun's song. I think that's it. I think this one only has one. Yeah. So, anyways, you get the idea. You can go to specific areas to do a specific strike, or you can just go to the Vanguard and do this. I have never done the daily heroic story mission, but I'm assuming it is not just a story, but I wonder if it's also like a strike kind of thing since it's in the strike. I don't want to say yes or no for sure, but the main thing that I really want to do and go on is this, the Nightfall. And by the way, there's Grandmaster, and I'm going to highlight over this. Grandmaster difficulty is available on all season Nightfalls. The ordeal strikes in the last few weeks of a season. Um, you, it might be a recommended, but say Nightfall is. I'm gonna put Nightfall. Nightfall is like the harder. It's a challenge strike, but you get way better stuff out of it. So, in my opinion, and as me and you've probably seen in my Goober plays, me and my friends, we love doing Nightfall stuff. Like it is just, it gets so challenging. And the reason it does is because this Nightfall is the only one you can change the power level. And it is a recommended power level besides Grandmaster, which all fire team members have to have a power level of 1075. Remember how I told you at the very beginning, if you don't have a certain power level, sometimes they lock you out? This is one. This is the only part. Everything else, you can be at 750 and still be like, I'm doing 1080, and you'll go into it. But the main reason I wanted to show this is because strikes and all strikes and nightfall including all have modifiers on them. What are modifiers? This one's the easiest to show because it's right here. Mission modifiers. Shocker. When defeated, goblins spawn arc pools that causes damage over time. I call those like uh, Well, you would see them. They're like white light electricity, and you stand on it and it hurts. That's an adept. Hero, more modifiers come up. These are the champions. The champions barrier and champions overload. So those right there, it comes into play if you have your own modifiers to counterbalance this. This mode contains overload champions which cannot be stopped without an overload mod. And the same thing, which cannot be stopped without an anti-barrier mod. You can stop them without the mods. It is just ridiculously hard to do that. And there's also the root algorithm. Void and aerial damage increase. So if you're having a subclass void or you have weapons that are void, and if you're in the air or like say you're a warlock and you're gliding around and shooting, you're going to do a lot more damage during this time. Um, these right here, the overload mod and the anti-barrier mod, I will get into later. That is more advanced in my opinion. Some people probably would be like, nah, that's basic, but for me and how basic I'm trying to do these videos, this would be like a more end towards the end of the basic stuff. But mods are very important, and I just started getting into them pretty big, and now that I've learned them, like I'm like, whew, man, game changer. Um, but if you look, starting and each one, every time you go up, they they increase. So a lot of times, me and my friends play on 1050. We've tried 1080 a couple of times, but 1050. And the reason this one in particular is really really hard, your equipment is locked. So you can't change your equipment in the middle of the game once it starts. So if you have a bad loadout and you're like, oh man, I should probably switch from my bow to a submachine gun or something, you're screwed. You had the bow, you're going to deal with the bow until the day the game is done. Um, and of course, it adds enemy shields or higher resistance to all unmatched elemental damage. So that comes into play also that I found out in battles. Like you want to match your energy with their shields, and it kills them quicker. And anything, um, master, it makes it even worse. They take out, so in legend they still have that root, so void and aerial. A lot of times when I was looking at this, they take that out. So let's see. Oh no, they still have it actually. Sometimes they take that out, but this one now has mob as basically additional champions into this, and togetherness base health regen is reduced if near another player health regen is increased. So just extra mods to make it even tougher. Now, why in the world would you want to do it at higher levels? Just in case you haven't noticed, at Adept you can get exotic gear, but it's really rare, and you can get enchantment cores, which are kind of uncommon. So green and blue on getting stuff. This one, when you go up a level, you can get those. It's green, and now exotic gear is green to get at the end of the level. And these are blue, enchantment prisms. What are all this right here? I'll get into it soon. This I want to get into this with the mods because this kind of goes hand in hand with it. So this is kind of like crafting and how you upgrade your equipment. And you use these with upgrade modules, enchantment cores, enchantment prisms, all upgrade your weapons and armor, and that's kind of where you go into the perks and your mods. All that stuff is like at the end, but just know that you want this stuff and you don't want to use it without understanding what you're using it on. The exotic gear, of course, I've went over before. Rare gear, really good stuff. Got some cool perks. You might get one that you love. Like in my case, I love the Titan gauntlets that I have on where I can shoot through the wall. And I also like the Warlock gauntlets that I have on where my void grenades recharge way faster. So as you increase, it becomes even more. So like now you can't get enchantment cores, but you can still get enchantment prisms, and now they're not as bad. And exotic gear is almost guaranteed. It's common. Like I mean, that's just gonna drop at the end, no matter what. And then you go into this where ascendant shards are uncommon, and those I believe are pretty rare. As you can see, they're gold, so exotic. I don't have any. but I believe they're for like to make masterworks of your armor or something, if I remember right. And enchantment prisms are now common, so that's why this one's pretty good. And of course, the Grandmaster, every you're just gonna get nothing but gold. Ha, gold, get it? Or yellow. Pretty much easy as we can't even do this. I don't even have a 1075. None of my friends do. So, but anyways, this is Strikes and Nightfalls and what you do in them. I may do one if you're really curious about it. We did Nightfall. I broke it into 3 parts, so you can just check it out on like the playlist. The three Goobers play. Me and my friends play it. We have a lot of fun. Get a little frustrated, but that's kind of what goes with it. And but yeah, that's what strikes are. These are strikes, and in my opinion, one of the funnest things about this game. I mean, there's a lot of other fun things about the game, but this is by far like probably top on my list. So there you go.